Hello, 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 everyone. How you're all doing? I hope all is well. Um, just hope to see you're all doing well. In the moment, I am just getting everything set up. So just give me a quick little moment while I get that going. This should be relatively quick. I just set up the software, so right now it's just loading everything up. And yeah, that's pretty much in the moment what I'm doing. Should be very soon. Yeah, I can start doing this. Okay, here you go. Yeah, so if anyone is watching right now, or will later watch this, right now in the moment, the software is just pulling up the ephemeris for every single point um, that I have up here. So it should take a while for it to load, but not too long, I hope. Well, it's a little faster than this, so I'm not too sure what's going on. Let's see. Just seeing. Yeah, so just in a moment doing a live stream on both YouTube and Twitch. Oh, finally. Okay, I already forgot new line. Have listed. Hold on. Just one moment. Yes. So Hassan. Okay, just pulling up his chart. Where is it? Okay. Let's see. For yeah, this will be a good start. Okay, so we're going to start with his geocentric core at the longitudes. So this should only take just a few. Leave in his moon. Okay, I'm just filtering through on what this software had picked up. So let's see, there's Vesta. Okay, all the way to Ixion. Okay, Quaoar, because that is our main focus for the day. Add in Achilles. Yeah, the Chiron Ixion midpoint. Cleopatra, Midas, Prometheus, and Valhalla. Double check on this. Okay, yeah, that seems to be everything. So there we go. Okay. Right now, we're just focusing on the synchronization of core for all these examples. Hopefully, unlike last time, this should be a couple hours or so, and this should hopefully go well. So, with core, core is symbolic of, when it comes to charisma, it is the symbolism, not just charisma, but also of influential, and also with stars, influencers, dog mags, and anyone at like of high influential like status, whether it's actors, social media influencers, singers, politicians, whatever. Like it is general influence and charisma without a doubt. Um, and right now it is currently interacting. Well, not in the moment, but in his chart, it is interacting with Ixion. Now, Ixion is actually known as an amplification little body. So what that means is it amplifies, and the way that it amplifies it actually leans toward more positive components, more of like refinement of skills, talents, and potential to be gained. In this case, this will signify that he is very likely to have a strong influence that would just be a talent or skill that he builds and develops over his entire lifetime. Both are interacting with Vesta and Midas. Vesta is a symbolism, it symbolizes of friendship, kingship, caring, sharing, altruism, charity work, or nonprofit groups. It's also associations from time to time of like political parties and things of that nature, or like genuine caring and sharing with others as well. While Midas is associations with the Midas touch, the golden touch, making money, luck in making money, and anything and all things of the like. So, in this context, this could suggest that for Hassan to make money, it is in relations to how he is influencing or how charismatic he is. And Vesta also has something to do with likability as well. So not only is he charismatic overall, but he also has to be likable or even agreeable to various degrees as well. And again, this is more of a talent base of, again, being likable and also highly charismatic. Those are talents or skills that he has to work for. And once it is refined, he's able to obtain excessive wealth from it because, again, Midas is in this interaction. These points are also interacting with Achilles and Ceres. Now, Achilles, it is symbolism of the invisible warrior, persistence, determination, and more of the stack. All things in persistence, so like things are not going to get in the way, and if they're in the way, it's going to power through to various degrees. Ceres is a financial body, and it does associate with being known as the little godfather of business and financial matters and intentions of success and ability to make money in those areas. Also, it is also another amplification point, but to be quite more specific, it is a neutral amplification point. So if you see it interacting with any celestial body in general, it amplifies it, but whether if it's negative or positive, it's neither. It's very much sort of like in a medium range or just down between. Very neutral and or mix. Now, both of these points are also interacting with Wahala. And from my findings so far, it is associations with self-esteem and also with courage and even at times bravery as well. So, in other words, this could signify that his influence or his charismatic behaviors, persistence in making money, and all that is all broken down to bravery or even his own self esteem. It could relate to that, or it's a contribute factor of why he says or do things the way he does. is broken down to that self-esteem and his inner bravery or inner strength in that sense. The Chiron Ixion midpoint is also interacting with Valhalla. It is also interacting with Vesta, Cleopatra, the moon, and also Quaoar, along with the Ceres and Achilles midpoints. Now, with Chiron and Ixion into the mix, it is known as two relatively powerful amplification points mixed into one. Now, what that means in this case, both leaning heavily towards positive, influential behaviors of talents and skills being developed or potentials being tapped, and also this is symbolic of his career, his fame, how he's positively perceived by the public, and so forth. So what this point is interacting with is not only the moon, so he's seen as someone who is may at times be rather emotional, but he does have nurturing like behaviors or some type of karmic bond because interactions of the moon. There is association interacting with Vesta. So in other words, immense talents and very positive public viewings of him due to Vesta, so there's likability and friendliness and altruism is resulting of a positive public image. Chiron Ixion midpoint is also interacting with Valhalla, so in other words, we're seeing that again of that positive like self-esteem or like that inner bravery of sorts or inner strength very much showing in its own ways. Cleopatra is also interacting with the Chiron Ixion midpoint. What this can suggest is that he can make things rather enticing. Also, Cleopatra is known to be rather the seductive point as well. So he could make something rather seducing or enticing for others want to at least tune in. Whether it's obviously a video of him or working out or something of that nature, or him just doing whatever it is that he wants to do. Now, the Chiron Ixion midpoint is also interacting with Achilles, which again, that persistence, the invisible warrior like mentality or behavior like tendencies as well. Also, again, with Ceres, which in other words is a financial making point or business skills and talents, and another thing that I did forget to mention, is that Ceres is a point where it's more materialistic, and also it is very much to various degrees of where business practices and techniques and all that is kind of placed first. So morals and ethics is usually taken lastly. But in this context, due to its interactions, it's definitely leaning more towards like he has rather good positive business practices or can sustain some type of business of his own manner or deciding factors. Now, Vesta, Midas, Quaoar, Ixion, and the moon are interacting with Prometheus. From my personal findings so far as well with this point is that it's symbolic of enlightenment and also rather of fact-finding or truth-seeking of sorts. Whether it's spiritual, metaphorically speaking, or actual facts. So in other words, he could be a journalist if he is interested, or he could attain journalistic-like skills and abilities. But how he overall obtain and find this information is another contributing factor into relation to how he makes money. Whether it's spreading information that is truthful or finding that information, it's resulting in a very strong amount of trust into finding that information, along with also being able to make money of it in some form of way. Also, he is highly influential and is a skill or talent that he has. It only grows over time as well. And again, it's all of good intentional, emotional, or subconscious or unconscious intentions of growing that and finding it to be accurate and true. Now, let us look at another chart. Let me first just pull up the next chart. It is now going to be Gab's Smolders. Let me pull up this. Okay. Since we showed a heliocentric chart, I meant geocentric chart and longitudes, let's look at the heliocentric. So once I pull all these points, we can look at her patterns a lot more clearly, or at least I can see what I need to filter out. So let's see, where is Quaoar? Here it is. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, so we're going to be pulling in Mars, leave that. Jupiter, leave that in. Leave in Ceres. Sappho. Okay, let's see. Urania. Ixion. Core. Varuna. Let's see. Varuna, Athene. Hermes. Medusa. Midas. Phoenix. Prometheus. Okay. Okay. So, okay. So right here we have Quaoar interacting with Ixion again, and also with Athena. So Athene, or Athena, I would say Athena, it's Athene. Um, its symbolisms is of clear-mindedness, sageness, and it has some information to do with like knowledge and clear thinking and other things of that sort. Quaoar is again of charisma, it is of influence, especially of those who are social influencers, actors, and anyone who has the position or talents and skills in influencing others. As well, Ixion, again, it is of talents and skills and one's building up to their potential, mystic abilities, or mystic like outcomes. They're all interacting with Medusa, Varuna, and Midas. Now, Medusa and Varuna, they are also in conjoined to one another. What this will symbolize is one, Medusa is associated with like caring, nurturing like behavior, altruism as well. and usually it is very much like the caretaker in general, and even it cares about others and putting others first. Varuna, it is the planet of extremes. It is always too much of something or too much of everything. Sometimes positive, but usually leaning toward negative with the extremes. Now with Midas, again, this is immense talents and luck when it comes to like making money or the ability to make money in something, or it is just excessive amounts of money in general. Now, Medusa and Varuna are also interacting with Phoenix. Phoenix is, from both mine and another astrologers from our findings together, has strongly suggested that it is a point of success. My findings, it's rather a positive influence, especially of optimism, the positive mindset, and how the positive mindset in one's personal joys and all that can result in success. And that success and joy creates, well, that's joy and all that will create success, and the success will then create or result in more joy and optimism. And it sort of just starts on looping on itself like that. So this is very positive, where she can, if she takes care of others or is very nurturing of others, and this is probably like a very extreme portion of where she's very caring, very nurturing. She puts others first a lot, and this in some ways probably brings her joy, and also in its own way kind of brings in or contributes to her success in some form of way. With Jupiter into the mix, Jupiter is also a benevolent point. It is also a basic positive like amplifier as well. It's also of the horn of plenty, abundance, and also it is known to be the helpful point. So what Jupiter does, and since it's interacting with Varuna as well, just double check that. Yeah, it is. Okay. So since it's also interacting with Varuna, Jupiter in this case is somewhat rather helping in a sense of leading Varuna towards more positive, because Jupiter is the helpful point, as I mentioned before. What that means is Jupiter, if it is helpful to expand or multiply something, Jupiter will do that. If it is very helpful to constrain or shrink the numbers on whatever that is, Jupiter will do that then. Saturn, on the other hand, though it is not in this chart, does the opposite. If it is unhelpful to expand that, Saturn will expand it. If it is not helpful to constrain or contract something, Saturn will do that. But in this case, since it's Jupiter, whatever she needs in the extreme like factors, Jupiter will help in those manners. Now, all these points as well are interacting with Mars, Ceres, and Hermes. With Mars and Ceres, Mars is symbolic of one's will. It is the aggression, the determination, drive for anything and everything. And what Mars does, it is very much like the determination. It is very much like the don't push me around type alignment. It's not necessarily a bulldozer, but it will fight if needed, or it will react in various ways, again, if needed. Now, it is also interacting with Ceres, so in this case, a determination or drive or willpower in relations to finances. And also, it just improves that finances because Ceres is also an amplifier point. Centers with joy, happiness, this is the will and determination. and is to contribute to making money big time with both Phoenix and also with Ceres. Now, with Artemis into the mix, Artemis, from mine and another astrologer's findings so far, we have found it to be in relations to the paranormal. It is of like the metaphysics or the other like world or hidden knowledge or truths. So in this case, this could suggest that she has the ability, whether it's intentional or not, is able to obtain secret knowledge or truth or to find it in some various ways, especially what is relevant for her. And all these are relations to, again, her truth seeking abilities or her ability to find enlightenment. And these will be in relations to both Jupiter, Varuna, and Medusa, and of course, Midas. So there's her ability to find information that is, quote, metaphysic or hidden or secret information could inadvertently help her be better, not only a better, caring, loving person, but also will contribute to her own success in some form or way. This is all interacting with Urania, which it is symbolic of astrology as well, but also it is symbolic of high-end technology as well. It's also, I have found some associations that it's another point where it ensures success as well. And also it does have some rather calculated or rather a mathematical like mindset to various degrees, or it's very like practical where it can do various complex tasks as well. So she could be very much hyper focused onto something or be able to analyze something and make a sound judgment. And again, with Jupiter is also of good sound common sense, Phoenix of joys, and so forth. Medusa and Varuna is usually of, in this point with Medusa and Varuna, and how to take care of others as well. And this probably is of a very helping like nature. And of course, making money in the extreme is part of the joy and how she calculates and analyzes as well. Also, with this point, it is interacting with Sappho. Now, with Sappho, it is neurotic behaviors, some in relations to with neurotic behaviors and also with anxieties and tendencies and so forth. So this could suggest that possibly she has some anxieties in relations to the paranormal or some from away or quick to respond, but definitely in most likely the tendencies of money inadvertently corrupting her in some form or way. So she probably is very much very generous to helping others to help prevent that unconscious anxiety of like perhaps too much money or something of that nature would probably lead her in a path that's rather dark for her. Or being too materialistic, again, probably maybe some type of unconscious anxiety and or fear for her as well. So in terms of seeking for knowledge and wisdom and all that, it's probably for her to sort of like inadvertently calm herself down if that is the case with this point in the pattern as well. Not a guaranteed, but it is a possible scenario to manifest. Now let's look into another person's chart, which is Jacksepticeye birth chart. We will look into his heliocentric as well. But let's look at his Zodiac 7 for that. Let me just first pull everything up, and I will pull his chart. There he is. Okay. Now, since we're on the Zodiac 7, for those who do not know what that is, the Zodiac 7 is we take the zodiac or circle and break it into 7 equal pieces. Hence, Zodiac 7. But the additional thing why we do this is we then use all possible angles that be created when you break up the zodiac into 7 equal pieces. So we have these 3 aspects that we focus on for only Zodiac 7, primarily because we're looking for symmetrical patterns, not asymmetrical. If asymmetrical exists, we'd rather have it be of the same harmonic, if you will, just to make it things more easier to see. Now, let me first find Quaoar. Here it is. Now, an additional little fun trivia about the Zodiac 7 is that from our findings, the Zodiac 7 makes very powerful alignments in general. And what these powerful alignments are is we notice that they are much stronger than what we refer to as enhancements. Enhancement angles are the conjunctions, trines, parallels, contraparallels, and contralatitudes. Although pure enhancements is just conjunctions, trines, and parallels. So, and these points are actually the most powerful points or angles as well. But with Zodiac 7, they're much more stronger than that. However, another thing that is also rather unique is based on our findings of these angles is that the mere fact is they are also very neutral. So they amplify the qualities of the planets by default. So if the angle includes 2 negative planets, you see a very powerful negative like alignment. If one planet is negative, if one's positive, you see that mix counterbalance of the 2 alignments. It's always going to be both. You will see the amplified power and strengths of the 2. Are the 2 planets that make the angle. But obviously, if it's 2 positive alignments and they're both in this interesting type positive alignment over here, it's much more powerful than ever. Excuse me. Now, with Quaoar, this symbolizes, as I mentioned before, this to do with his charisma, his ability to influence others, and of course, starship like status, stardom like status is symbolism of nomadic, dignitaries, influencers, content creators, anyone who has like some type of like massive influence in general, like tendencies or abilities. Nike, which is a competitive planet, is or asteroid. It is very competitive. It is also of success, more in particular in sports, especially, and also with like that determination of success and competitive like tendencies for success. Orcus is part of this mixture, which is symbolic of growth, advancement, and of course, it is of prosperity, abundance, success, even. And this is suggesting that he can be rather competitive in some way to have a influential or impactful meaning with his influence, and this will result in type of prosperity and financial success in some way, and this will only grow and advance and refine itself as time progresses. Now, with Saturn into the mix, in this case, Saturn is more of discipline. It is the concept of like practice makes perfect. It is foundations, the teaching process, and lessons learned, sort of like the test pass, lessons learned type of ordeal. In this case, it's symbolic of like his charisma and his ability to have influence, and along with his prosperity and the abundance and so forth from that, it's all due to mere hard work, or it was sort of like beaten into him in some form of way, whether it's emotionally, psychologically, or just general hard work in general. And also, it was very much something that he was not good at, and he probably, or if not most likely, very much had to focus in on it to obtain prosperity. This also suggests that whatever that he did needed to practice to be better content creator or have some type of influence and prosperity from it, it was very much practiced consistently as well. And these were like sort of like the tests passed and lessons learned for him, which was the ability to obtain success and prosperity through his charisma, or having, if not building, some type of charisma. So now let's look into the geocentric, and let's pull up QT Cinderellas. So let's see where she is at. Oh, okay. Take out Nike. Well, at least I have an idea now of what I need to leave in. But I still need to see every single possible point that is potentially part of this mixed. Okay. So still Saturn, but we leave in Neptune now. And the new addition is this Achilles as well. Okay, that makes things so much easier. Let me just double check once I'm done. I know I gotta take that part out. Okay, Achilles, Quaoar, Orcus, Neptune, Saturn. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm just a little curious. It doesn't interact. Actually, yeah. Neptune does not interact with Orcus, but I'm just a little curious. Five degrees. Okay, so it's pretty far from. Okay. So, with core, again, it is a symbolic of charisma, influence, influencers, celebrities, dignitaries, and so forth. Achilles, which is symbolic of the invisible warrior, persistence, and of course, determination. And also Neptune, which is symbolic of true love. It is also of spirituality, peacemaking, or just like being at peace. Very relatively calm, abilities to take things not too seriously, artistic abilities, artistic talents, anything and all things long term. So, whether it is long term, like financial success or stability, Saturn is obviously of hard work. It's also of rather practice makes perfect, foundations, and of course the learning process, tests passed, lessons learned. And of course, Orcus is of symbolic of prosperity, growth, advancements, enhancements, and so forth. So what we get here is this is one, a financial point or a minor financial point. This is also a bit of a minor financial point as well, but a long-term stable ability of making money is due to persistence in her practice or the ability to build that skill and qualities and all that, and also that foundations of building and working on her charisma, her influence, or her ability to have influence and charismatic like skills, and of course the ability to work hard towards obtaining prosperity and some sort of advancement and growth for herself or in terms of finances as well. Also a strong, if not also limited, gain of working hard in terms of building that skill of determination and drive to go at it, or she had the ability to sort of like have that persistence for prosperity in her charisma, but Saturn was the additional key force needed to like refine that and sort of like help build it much stronger and be that foundational place for connecting all that together in its own unique way. So let's look at Ludwig's chart. Okay, he too also has Neptune and Orcus interacting with Quaoar. But let's change this to let's make this the zodiac 12. geocentric. And I will make this to the 9th harmonic. Recalculate. Now, let me just find it, because its positions now have been moved due to a different calculation that has been done to his chart. Now, for those of you that do not know, harmonic charts, how they are calculated, is we break the zodiac down to 360 degrees. We then multiply each number of the 360 degrees by an X amount for the harmonic. So, for example, let's say we want to know, like you see here, the 9th harmonic. You'll multiply every single number on the 360 degrees by 9 to get the 9th harmonic chart. Now, since the circle is 360 degrees, and let's say you get a number that's over 360 degrees, technically speaking, you just subtract 360 degrees and you'll know the exact placement where to place it, because it is a circle, so it's going to constantly just loop on itself. So by subtracting it, it makes it more easier for you to know the exact position the planet will now be in based on this calculation process. Now, Sun, Mercury, now the reason why I'm showing this is simply because from my personal research, I have been playing around with this chart for a very long time. And from my findings, this works almost identical, if not perfectly well, like an ordinary birth chart, which is nothing new, but the mere fact that I was able to find proof is very nice to know. Now, of course, don't get me wrong, my research is still not fully quite ready for this, but it's very much strong and safe to say that this is very much close, if not nearly identical, to be a fully functional, like, additional birth chart. So let me just finish pulling up those calculations, and honestly, once I'm done reading this chart, you'll see why I'm somewhat kind of pulled, if not convinced, from my research alone. So, now, with Ludwig's 9th harmonic geocentric chart, we have Quaoar, excuse me, again, Quaoar interacting with the Sun, Odin, the Saturn-Jupiter midpoint, Mercury, Sedna, Medusa, Pallas. Quaoar, as I mentioned many times already, is symbolic of charisma, the star, the influencer, or the ability to influence others as well. It is interacting with Odin. Odin is known as the bringer of blessings. It is a very positive amplification point. It is of luck and success. And note, though Jupiter also symbolizes luck and success, Odin is much more powerful than it. In fact, it's also much more powerful than a few other celestial bodies as well. So, luck, success, status is another symbolism of Odin. The undisputed leader. And of course, immense blessings of all kinds in almost any type areas. The sun is symbolic of the person itself. It's also their will and also courage as well. It's also symbolic of the heart, both literal and metaphorically speaking. The sun, Saturn, Jupiter, midpoint, we see the extremes of these two planets play big time at the exact same time. So this person, or in this case, this point, suggests that he could be extremely paranoid, extremely benevolent, extremely smart, extremely dark-willed, if not have deep, dark desires, and other things of that nature. Mercury, which is part of here, is a small contribute to success as well, but also it's symbolic of communication, also sources and tools for communication, or abilities of communication as well. So in other words, whether it's verbal communication, it is sign language, whether it is visual, so there's like things that help with communication in some form of way, whether it's by communication through touch and feelings, is it conveying of ideas. So there's tools and sources such as like hearing aids, the eyes, or things that mimic the eyes, such as cameras, things that mimic the mind, because when we communicate, it's usually with conveying ideas of the mind to others, and others, anything that also mimics the mind itself, and also the ears, because we use those for communication to understand verbal communication, if that is possible. And of course, the mouth for verbal communication as well. So there's also things that mimic those things as well, such as microphones and speakers for symbolism of the ears, microphones for catching the audio, speakers, the mind, in this case, computers, and communications in regards with the visuals, the cameras, and also, surprise, surprise, Mercury is also symbolic of the internet as well, along with information and the ability to convey ideas and so forth. So we can kind of already see that he's probably very intelligent or extremely successful in relations to Mercury. And again, this charisma in relations to Mercury, success, and much blessings and success through Mercury, online, streaming online, conveying online, talking online, or being a journalist. And again, it is interacting with the sun, so extreme abilities or extreme success in Mercury-related areas, such as being a journalist, such as being charismatic. And again, this is stardom. Again, course, in other words, this heavily influenced that he could very much be a successful streamer or YouTuber online, and he's very blessed in that skill set. Senna, which is determination and drive, so that he's very determined and very drive to be very successful. And again, Medusa, because this shows very much caring and nurturing like behavior. So it's like, though his information, it's something that he cares about, and he wants to nurture or give information. Palas, which is also digital products and influence, digital products and services. So there's coding, gaming, again, streaming, and any and all possible digital products and or services. So, and again, streaming, it's digital entertainment in some form of way. So there's like very successful, very powerful, very charismatic streamer essentially, is what all this will summarize to. And of course, very strong and very influential journalist, whether it's through online drama or through him using his skills and knowledge and information to obtain that or to investigate it. Because Mercury is also a fact checker point as well. And it suggests that Ludwig is without a doubt, a successful streamer and also has most likely a successful journalist in his own right. Or has the skill sets to be a successful journalist and to be a successful streamer or a successful gamer in this case, or successful anything to do with digital products and services. And again, with also working with computers or some type of communication or communication like process or job or career. So as you can see here, just on this one chart alone, though it's not a lot, but this is enough just to give you an idea why I'm convinced that this may work. And again, I'm doing research and testing, not just with this chart, but with many other different charts. And I'll start showing you some more and more, not just with the geocentric, but also the heliocentric harmonic 9 charts from this point on. At least for this stream. So let's pull up a new chart for the 9th harmonic. So let's pull up, let's see, Blau. Nathan Blau or Blaustoys. Or just Blau. I believe he rebranded to Blau, if my memory serves correctly. However, only reason why it's in the old name / brand is simply because I didn't feel like updating the chart fully. So that name is here to stay for now, till I feel motivated to change it. Let me just show you another geocentric. And then we will just start going to the heliocentric for a bit. Mars, Pluto. Okay, we have Ceres, Pallas, Vesta. Okay, Quaoar, Verena. Okay. Achilles, Jupiter, Chiron, then Midas, Odin, Ulysses. Now, with Blau's 9th harmonic chart in a geocentric dimension, we can see that his career, his business, or in this case, one of his financial points, ability to make money as a influencer, Quaoar, or the ability to make money or the intentions of making money by his charisma. These points is in relations to Jupiter Chiron midpoint. Excuse me. The Jupiter Chiron midpoint. And this is of a positive public image. It is symbolic of the ability to have success or abundance in the career that he chooses, a positive public image overall, and success in banking or even in the ability to have a family and all these other natures of like very positive public image. Um, hold on, my mind kind of went blank here. Let me just pull up my notes real quick because I cannot remember. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, so it is a helpful point in both career and love, and also is known as a Cinderella midpoint and also a golden midpoint. So there's like he has the ability to make money through this point and also find true love through this point as well. The interactions with Mars, in other words, will, determination, drive, and so forth, and his yeah enthusiasm as well with it would sort of just lead him towards a scenario where that he has a strong ability to make money and all that. If he was to, I guess, say, show off his body, which is symbolism of Mars, which because it rules the body, or muscles, his rather ability to make money as a influencer and star through his will and determination and drive overall as well. And Varuna is the extreme like nature or tendencies of being influential, and these influences and will be very much through some type of digital product and or service, in this case streaming or programming if he is interested in that field. Ulysses, in other words, he sort of creates or is quote the thinker, where he creates and crafts his own type content. He is also to essentially be working alone when creating this, or he makes some type of great discovery in creating his own products or games if he is interested in that field. He also can make money actually very well because of that persistence and tendencies of like not being pushed around and definitely following his will to a various T's. These points are also interacting with Pluto, so his career interacting with Mars right here, which is a super sexual linkage or alignment, really, or a clash, really. But it has also relations with a strong competitive like nature. And again, competitive, especially when it comes to making money as an influencer or using his charisma and to have some type of like great the ability to have his charisma make money for him for his career. And of course, this will only contribute to his determination and drive and competitive like nature, whether it's through competitive gaming or something else that nature. And again, Odin is the immense blessings and luck. And this blessings and luck is again relations to content creating or playing video games, and also in relations to his determination and drive and immense blessings and so forth with making that money using his charisma. And of course, this also suggests that he is also very altruist. He is very much an altruist or very caring, nurturing, loving individual. He could be very friendly as well. He is very much also one to probably work and do things for charity or taking care and sharing with others some type of ability. His likability as well is also a key factor for him to making the excessive amount of money, along with his immense creativity in content creation and the ability to create something new whether it's a tool or device or some type of new content that haven't really been done before, will work very well in his favor. Now, let's look at the heliocentric for a different person now. And I will just pull up the points after I pull up this person's chart, whoever it will be. Let's choose Myth. So right now we are just pulling up all the points in to see Myth's heliocentric longitudes of this ninth harmonic chart for him. Now, let's see, where is Quaoar? Here it is. Let's look at Earth, Ceres, Diana, Lilith, Ixion, Quaoar, Achilles, Isis, Midas, Phoenix, Prometheus, and Xanthus. Okay. Okay. Now, so immense joy and success in terms of finding information or some sort of enlightenment is part of how he'll obtain his charisma or use his charisma. And this is also again signifies that he is also an individual who has skills and potentials, and his skills and potentials is in relations to how he finds or seeks for happiness and success. And again, this is only fine tuned and all that in relations to how he influences people or able to obtain influence through charisma. It is interacting also with Diana and Xanthus. And with Diana, it is symbolic of like guardian angels. It is sort of like ancestral knowledge and wisdom. It is of sort of like a naivety. It is also symbolic of, let me just see real quick, just so I can give you the quick little. Let me just pull up my notes again real quick. So sorry about this. Yeah, so it's purity, innocence, hope, genius, serenity, maybe naive or gullible, believes in people, light in spirit, helpful, and desires to do good. Uh, there is also a wisdom, clarity, unity, attunement to higher realms, higher guidance, angelic guidance, the wise one, the shaman, over with the BS, and of course, stays in own lanes and leaves people to their lessons type like mentality. And with Xanthus, it is sort of more of the serial killer celestial body, but it does has associations with like being antisocial. It is known to be the rebellion, taboo breaker. It dares you, known to be rather wicked, reckless, self sabotage, self undoing, permission to be bad type of ordeal, and of course, of things to do with like the why not attitude, and of course, to be like the rule breaker as well. So, this could suggest that working towards being a better person, though he may be naive, he's also building up wisdom and knowledge and intelligence, but also may have the tendencies of being rather the why not and just be a bit of a dickwad, whether it's in good intentions, which based on Phoenix is often in good intentions or funny or to be funny essentially. It is always in a good joking manners to like push or to quote be bad because dark humor in some form or way. Now, with Quaoar, it is also interacting with Isis. Isis is known to be a super powerful point. It is sort of like a self-made royal. It is also very much of like fraternal with Uranus in various ways, especially like within fame and of course like public image and so forth. It is the path of fortune, the golden path, so notice the golden path and fortunes is relations to him, quote, causing a ruckus from time to time, but also obtaining and gaining some type of deeper knowledge and searching for that inner truth and wisdom. And of course, the path of knowledge is who he is very much a person who is seen and thought of to be a self-made royal in some form of way. And of course, it's also to do with his skills and talents and so forth, and building towards that. Quaoar is also interacting with Ceres, so again, it is another financial point, heavily strong amplifications, and it is interacting with also a few other points, such as with Lilith, and Lilith is also interacting with the Earth. This could suggest that he has a tendency of sort of being like having the clouds over his head from time to time, or have a strong tendency of doing that, whether it was intentional or not. It is very much possible to occur. He may be someone that has a tendency to unfortunately have a rather lack of faith, though he may want to have faith or see the light in others. He may be very skeptical or have tendencies of being overly skeptical, though he need to be cautious of that. Is rather being feeling helpless and hopeless. Though in this case, it could also suggest if we're going for like terms of fashion or the ability to have a nice fondness of style and fashions or products or something that is based in like emo, goth, or punk may be of his interest. Though, of course, it also suggests dark humor as well, which is part of his being funny. And of course, that dark humor is what helps with also making money as well. And again, seeing the light in others, but with dark humor or a sense of dark humor as well, is also that contributing factor in how he could also make money as well, or help him be very charismatic and likable in some form of way due to that behavior. And again, with Achilles, so like he's very persistent, he's very much like working towards that of like he has to get the job done, or he's very persistent and has so much like abundant energy and some type of competitive likeness to work at it. In this case, working towards persistence in working in his career or obtaining financial success, and that persistence in like refining and building his talents and finding his potentials and so forth, and also finding some sort of truth. And also, he's always persistent in finding the light in people as well. So, those are just some of the interpretations that can come from this pattern. Let's pull up. Let's see. Let's pull up physical gamers. So again, let me just pull up every single point so we can somewhat see what synchronizations he has or patterns that includes Quaoar. But before I apply everything properly, we're looking at Halo Sector. Not too sure why I just included those points in. Where is Quaoar? Okay, it's an Aquarius. Excuse me. Okay, let's take out Venus. Oh, wait, leave in Venus. Jupiter, Saturn. Okay, Chiron. Ceres, Pallas. Okay, it's a Quaoar. Let's just double check. It's Quaoar. Okay. Saturn, Jupiter, midpoint. Phoenix. Prometheus. And Xanthus. Sorry, I'm just pulling out my notes. Because right now I am getting very forgetful in the moment. So just bear with me real quick. Okay, here it is. Apply. Okay, with Quaoar. Again, it is in symbol. It symbolizes things to do with it symbolizes things to do with being charismatic. It also is of influence and status, and of course, stardom and influencer like ship, dignitaries, and so forth, and is interacting with Prometheus, which is, of course, a symbolic of. So sorry. Which is symbolic of inner wisdom or guidance or enlightenment or the ability to seek in knowledge or find knowledge and information. In this case, it is relations to Pallas, and there is very charismatic or influential through digital like products and services, or in this case, streaming, And of course, is interacting with Phoenix and Sanctus. So again, dark humor is probably very much present in his content or how he chooses to handle things. And of course, joy and success. And very transformative individual through his charisma in searching for information and so forth. And again, Saturn is also part of this pattern, which signifies that he's working hard or practices in being very charismatic and having practice in using and obtaining charisma, and also, of course, searching and finding information sorts, and of course, practicing for making content or finding and fine tuning his content in some form of way, whether it's through like technical analysis wise or of like structure and organization manners. Also symbolic of like his happiness and joy or optimistic like mindset. He probably has some difficulties in always being consistently positive or optimistic with something, so he always probably has to like remind himself to be or to try to act it and inadvertently like train his brain, in other words, to have a positive, if not optimistic, outlook on things. The Saturn Jupiter midpoint is also interacting with this. Again, this is like a like extreme bipolar like tendencies where there's like extremely benevolent, extremely dark desires, extreme success, or very much like control over success and fortunes and so forth, or abundance in restraints or bad luck, essentially, or good luck overpowering bad luck, and vice versa. It's also symbolism. It also symbolizes sort of like just nuclear like clashes and like operations. It may initial attractions combined in, so like it's also known to be like irreconcilable differences at play or devastating mistakes, bad judgment, confusion. It also is symbolic of like distress and overwhelming or agitations as well. But in this case, there may be some type of like confusion and judgment or being overwhelmed in some ways with trying to be optimistic or like his own inner demons or stress and scenario kind of prevents his ability to be having a positive mindset to be successful from time to time. What this also could suggest is also it may influence his ability to be successful in content creation. However, as long as he works hard in terms of obtaining a positive mindset, it could also backfire in the sense where the negative is not overtaking the positive, but in fact, the positive will just easily crush out the negative. But it's of course that balancing game of finding that ability to be extremely successful in content creations and finding the joy in it. Otherwise, if he doesn't find the joy in it, it may be constrained because of those like inner demons or something that being overwhelmed and stressed because of it. So he needs to work on how to essentially maintain some sort of balance, if you will, to prevent burnout. And as a result, it can also contribute to his happiness and being a better and much more stronger content creator. This also core is also interacting with Jupiter. So it's again that balance play, but this time it's of like very successful, very positive public image. It's good luck, optimism, hope, wisdom, guidance, and of course, like the ability to receive higher guidance and so forth. Working very well with his disciplinary like actions or how he practices the terms of like essentially practices in terms of like being benevolent, practices of implying ethics and also applying like peace, putting the practice of truth and finding truth, and of course the reliability and selflessness. He needs to find that balance in being rather selfless, rather benevolent, and of course like apply some sort of type of ethics, and of course peace and harmony, both spiritually and physically. And also what this could imply is very success. Hello? Very successful in terms of, I'm so sorry. Oh, okay. Um, Anyways, sorry, that caught me off guard. So, immense blessings and success in terms of the ability to make money, excessive ability to make money in terms of what he practiced and put what type of lessons that he learns and practice will very much heavily pay off in his terms of ability to how he chooses to make his money, which is in relation to making money to what is making him happy. And what makes him happy is has to be in relations to finding that balance of like entertaining people and making money off of that. But of course, don't let it take him too far to where it restrains him in some form of way where he is stuck in some type of cycle of like he is getting burnt out due to it or something of that nature. He needs to find that sort of balance. Otherwise, if there's not a healthy balance, it will eat him alive emotionally and of course spiritually and even physically in some form of way. So as long as he find that balance, ability to have excessive ability to make money, be happy and successful and so forth, the doors will be fully wide open for him. But this alignment just sort of shows like he may have some struggles or that ability in terms of stardom. Very while being very successful, it again relates to him finding that balance between those two things. If it's not balanced, the success or ability to have success and influence may somewhat slip, where it may not be going well for him. If that's the case, he'll most likely need to like take a break from things for a bit, then come back when he's fully recharged. Well, those are just some of the possible interpretations, and of course, warnings that can occur. Now, let's see a chart of Smafuni. I'll just say Mason because that's easier for me to say. I'm not too sure how to say his streamer name or gamer tag or whatever that is. Um, okay, I need to seriously. I'll do that later. But hold on. Just gonna do this real quick. hopefully it. Hold on. This should be real quick, hopefully. Yeah, because this is. Yeah. This is going to be bothering me, so I need to do this real quick. Hopefully it does not take too much. Okay, done. Okay, hold on. Okay. Okay, that's right. We are looking at the geocentric. And we're just going to include every single one of these points. Just so we can see the synchronization he has for Quaoar. Here it is. Okay, we leave in Saturn, Uranus, Pluto, North Node, Juno, Lilith, Uranus, Urania, Ixion, of course, Quaoar, the Jupiter Chiron midpoint, and Chiron Ixion midpoint. Cleopatra is going to be left over there. Medusa is going to be left. Ulysses and Vulcan. Okay. Okay. So yeah. Sorry. Okay. Quaoar. It is in a stellium of Quaoar, Urania, and the Chiron Ixion midpoint. They are also making a grand trine with Juno, Uranus, and Ulysses. Quaoar, as I mentioned plenty of times already, it is symbolic of charismatic stars. It is a charisma overall. It is dignitaries, influencers, and so forth. Urania sort of acts like another Uranus in terms of high-end technology. It has also associations with astrology as well, and also I have found it to be the ability to ensure success in some form of way. The Chiron Ixion midpoint, it is a very super powerful ability to have like immense talent, success, and building up that potential in terms of building your future in whatever it is that you want to do, or have immense blessings in terms of almost anything that you want to do as well. It is interacting with Juno, which is associations with dreams, delusions, and of course, like creativity and fashion, the rock star like lifestyle. Uranus is a symbolism of fame, fortune, sort of most likely fame, the internet, globalization. It is of space exploration, air exploration and travels, space travels. It is very much the public opinion or just the public itself. It's also associations with politics. Ulysses is of the inventor building things in their basement. It is of the ability to create or build something new. It is also so this trine alone, or this combined trines, strongly suggests that as a content creator or individual online, he could attain a massive influence and success through online by making things rather very enticing and building his dreams come true. And this is his strong skill set in potentials, and also in doing so with ensuring the success is to be able to ensure that he has success, he needs to be crafting or building something. And again, in relations to entertainment, or in this case, entertaining the public, especially online. So this is how his ability to have uses his career and actually build that potential to succeed in some form of way. Now, this is also interacting with Pluto, most of these points as well. So what this suggests that his career is again in relations to entertaining the public, or is a career that's supported by the public. And it's also again in relations to the fact that he has to, for his career, be making things rather enticing to the eye, symbolized by Cleopatra. So he has to make it very magnetizing, very seductive or attractive to gain people's attentions. And of course, it's also interacting with Medusa. So in other words, like doing things, let's say, like charity, or his natural ability to be caring and nurturing towards the public or his audience in some form of way. That contributes to that. And of course, him being nurturing and caring toward his audience will contribute to immense success in whatever it is that he wants to do, or the ability to make money in his own career. And of course, the ability to make money and all that so forth is the ability to make his content and all that creative, but also this all relies based upon his ability to learn and obtain lessons and skills through hard work. And of course, it's interacting with Varuna. So there's Varuna from, not Varuna, Vulcan, Vulcano. From my findings, this particular celestial body has some influence with relations towards like creativity, the ability to transform pain, or transform hard work and all so forth into something new. It's very much of sort of forging, like transformation or building something new in a creative like manner. In this case, he is crafting or using his energy in terms of building something in relations that will either help people or from his caring nature in some way and making it very enticing to people. And again, this will inadvertently help his career, and this is based off a skill that he obtained through hard work and lessons learned. I'm so sorry. Now, with all these other points over here, it is interacting with Ixion. Now, Ixion, again, is the skills and talents. So the skills and talents and the potentials that he has to work towards is making things very entertaining, while also that will contribute and build his talents of being very successful and having very professional power or some sort of control in his own career. And also, this is in relation to him building or crafting something new, and that will result in also building in a good positive public image for his career. And of course, lastly, this is interacting with the North Node. From minds and another astrologers, we're not too sure what it is. However, from what we notice, it may act as another point for the sun. So this could suggest that he is a very much a person of power, or one who is very professional or power driven or very competitive. This also could suggest, with it interacting with Lilith, that as a person he may have a very dark sense of humor or has a tendency of seeing darkness in others some form of way, whether it's intentional or not, or he may be a person who is rather seductive or very like famous and exciting, or he is a very much a person that sort of looks for excitements and will do some things that are very much like out of the status quo or against the status quo because it is funny or quote for the content in some form of way. Or that's sort of the excuse that he may give from time to time. And again, also, he is a person who has a very positive public image and also a person who is without a doubt very successful. And also, in terms of his finances, which is the other part that I have noticed that the North Node has a tendency of popping up in, which is again suggests that he can make money in terms of making things very enticing online. And this enticements could suggest or be related to dark humor in its own unique ways for his career. Sort of like a dark, messed up twist, or a twist of like he just kind of wants to like cause a little bit of trouble, or making things some that may have some type of like influence of like punk, emo, or goth like style, or interacting with something else of that type of nature. But those are just some of the possible outcomes or interpretations that could come from this pattern for him. And again, is it Smuffy? I'm not too positive on if that's even pronounced right. But let's look at another chart. Let us look at Michael Reeves. Or you know what? Let's bring up Brooke. Maybe. Maybe Brooke. Brooke AB. Let me first see the word. Okay, so Taurus. Okay, just pulling up every single point in her chart again. But now that I know that it is in Taurus, this should be a lot more easier in terms of finding it. We can filter it. Okay. So Jupiter, Saturn. Jupiter, Saturn, Ceres, Vesta, Juno, Icarus, Urania, Quaoar, Saturn, Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter midpoint, Saturn, Jupiter midpoint, Chiron, Ixion midpoint, and Valhalla. Okay. Now with this pattern, core is again associations with things with being charismatic. It is very much of Ixion. It is very much of like the stardom. It's of charisma, charismatic stars, dignitaries, and so forth. It is interacting with Icarus, so this is of cautions, warnings. It is also interacting with Ceres. Ceres is a financial celestial body. It is a neutral amplifications, usually a business first, emotions or things of that nature kind of after. It's kind of rather more materialistic. Personal relationships is usually like second for Ceres. This also is interacting with Hala, so it is very much like a valor, courage, inner strength, inner courage, and Urania, which is associations with astrology, high-end technology, analytical like skills and tendencies. So with this interpretation, with this little pattern over here, we can kind of get an idea that as a content creator, how she uses or chooses to use her influence is strictly business driven, but also with her courage, she quickly analyzes the potential downfalls, or she's rather cautious with how she approaches using her influence to make money. Now they're all or mostly interacting with Vesta, so this also now add into the mix suggests that as she is making money and being cautious how she uses it, she has usually a strong likability. She shares and cares about others. She shares with others. She cares about others. She is very altruistic. She is very much like doing things for the good, strong friendships. So like she cares about her friends. So if she is making money with her friends, she also takes in considerations about how their influence or her influence would interact with theirs, especially in terms of charisma and money making abilities and so forth. It's also interacting with the Chiron Ixion midpoint, so strong blessings and abilities to work up to her potential, especially in her charisma and caution abilities. And of course, an excessively blessed in terms of making money in her own business ventures. And of course, also heavily blessed in very much a new, well deserved talent or skill in terms of the use of her inner courage and strength. This is also interacting with Jupiter and Juno, which this could symbolize that she is also has realistic dreams and realistic goals, because when Jupiter interacts with Juno, it takes out the delusions factors, it takes out the fantasy, but makes it more realistic and immense blessings and so forth of that. So, in other words, she's very much very realistic in terms of being a successful cautious influencer, and she makes the appropriate right goals or decisions needed for her ability to be cautious and of course to make money off of whatever it is that she chooses to do. And of course this also contributes to like being helping with her own abilities to analyze and have the courage of what she had analyzed for her business decisions. Saturn is also interacting with this pattern. What this could suggest is hard work and discipline, especially in terms of analyzing and processing information, especially if it's high end technology that she is working with for her career. And of course, this is in relations to the caution and uses of it. She was most likely very attentive in terms of like what to click, what to do, and so forth in the learning process. This also suggests that her ability to have control over the public or a good sense of control over her ability to have influence and swaying in terms of the public. And also, it is interacting with the Jupiter Saturn midpoint. So, she's super successful or extremely successful in doing so, or have some type of tendencies where she may be stressed or overwhelmed because some of her dreams may not work out. So, this may also result in some type of financial losses, which has sort of put her in a sense of like going backwards, where there's constant blunders and so forth. Where like if things don't work out, it's most likely due to a blunder, and this may cause some type of stress or tension. But overall, again, she has a very strong ability to like make money and have the necessary business skills if it's based on her courage. If that courage is non-existent, it may contribute. Well, it's more of like the blessings where it's a double-edged sword. If it's in good hands for her, it will actually go very well. If it's not in good hands for her, things may be rather bit problematic in some form of way. But those are just some of the interpretations that can manifest for her if she is not careful or cautious about that. So let's pull up another chart. Let's see. Let's pull up Cidion. And where is Quaoar? Okay, Taurus for her as well. Let's just pull up all these points once again. And this should only take us a moment. And you know what? Let's make this the heliocentric. And Quaoar is right here. Okay, pull up Earth, Pallas, Urania, Quaoar, Phoenix, Elysius, Valhalla, okay, Okay, now with Quaoar, again, it is symbolic of the charisma, it is of dogmatic stars, it is influencers, influence in general. It is interacting with her Earth, so this strongly suggests that she is a very strong, charismatic individual. She is one who is most likely to be an influencer or highly influential in general. Is Sun and the Earth, and Quaoar is also interacting with Pallas. Pallas is again with to do with technology, and this is especially to do with like coding, digital products and services, streaming, gaming, um, any type of pro- digital service or entertainment in this case. So again, she is strong to be a very famous or highly influential streamer in this case, and again with Urania, which is symbolic of again high-end technology. It is somewhat like Uranus. In this case, it may have something to do with the internet in this case because that's somewhat high-end technology. So high-end technology, the use of high-end technology in gaming and or entertainment and streaming, and again, highly influential individual. With Ulysses is the ability to create and craft things, while Hala is that strength and valor and courage to essentially like create and craft things, and her joys and success because of Phoenix. So again, it's also the positive mindset and attitude. Um, if the positive attitude and mindset is present in terms of her ability to create new types of abilities in what she does content wise, and also with like her personal technology or use of technology, or like those analytical skills in her content creation, that would do well for her ability in creating something new and having the courage and using that for her influence in some way, or using her influence to have the analytical skills help with her guidance in terms of how she uses her influence, and those analytical skills will be helping in terms of like building or creating some type of code that's very and very unique for her and very useful for her. And this, of course, will contribute to her happiness and success, and is very much helped and supported in that manner. Now, let's pull up another individual. So, let's look at um, Wade, or Lord Minion 777. Quaoar is in. Okay. Excuse me. Let's just pull up all these points. Pull up all these points. And let's see. Mercury, Mars, Neptune, Pluto, Earth, Quaoar, Sun. Okay. Just Quaoar, Sun, UV313, Saturn, Chiron, midpoint. Let's just pull up Isis. Nike, Phoenix, and Volcano. Okay, Volcano, Phoenix, Nike, Asus, Saturn Chiron, Bitcoin, UB313, Sedna, Quaoar, Earth, Pluto, Neptune, Mars, Mercury. Okay. Okay. So, again, with Quaoar, since we're focusing on that point, it is suggest it is symbolism of to do with charisma. It is of dignitaries of sorts, charismatic stars, influencers, and overall influence or power of influence. And it is interacting with Earth. So this strongly suggests that Wade is a very influential individual, or he's able to make some type of iconic or memorable, like, influence or memory upon people's brains in some form of way. Um, they're both also interacting with Sedna, so this suggests that he, as a person, he is very ambitious and very like competitive in terms of how he works, and that's what people usually remember him by. Of course, Sedna is also of like I want to be top tier, or like he is working or very motivated to like be the best at what he do. Also, Neptune suggests that he is also very creative. He is also very artistic. He's also an individual who overall possibly very much like at peace or tries to be at peace, but also an individual who has a tendency of trying not to take things too seriously if possible. Now, it is also interacting with the Saturn Chiron midpoint, which is like bad luck. This is also an individual who suffers from bad luck. That's essentially what this could suggest for Lord Minion, for Wade in this case. And also, just little unfortunate fact in this case, Neptune is also of the home, so there's like unfortunate luck in relations to the house, is probably what he is most memorable for. Which, if you are aware, he is part of a podcast called Distractible, and in that there is countless occasions throughout the series where he has plumbing issues. So this alignment could be that answer of what is going on for him, where it is plumbing issues or something to do with the AC or something to do with like the gas. Like, this alignment is probably the answer of why that happens or occurs. At least with this alone, it could be the answer. But these points also are interacting with Mercury and also with Nike. So what this could suggest is he is an individual. He is very competitive, especially if it's competitive sports. He is also very quick in terms of how he reacts in sports and obtaining that success in sports. Also, he has very strong, if not good, hand-eye coordinations, because Mercury is symbolic of movement or speeds of all kind. It's also symbolic of like the eyes itself and also the neural system. So like the neural system, Nike is of sports and success in sports and that competitive like energy. So like he's quick to respond, especially in terms of like gaining success. So he's also very memorable and iconic for that. Also, with Earth, it's interacting with Phoenix, and Phoenix is very much like the positive and optimistic like mindset. It's a success, the cycle of like optimism leading to success, success creating more optimism, and vice versa. And Vulcano is also interacting with this pattern so far. So what this can suggest that he is very creative, or he takes his unfortunate luck and he creates it into something that's worth making money off of it. So like sharing his stories again on like the Distractible podcast, like that is a creative way of using his misfortune to create money, which is through communicating it through Mercury radio, in this case, online radio, or in this case, podcasting. So that's just how he can use it in the most creative like manner. Phoenix is also interacting with Isis. Isis again is like the self-made royal. So like since Wade is not from a wealthy family, he is very much a content creator full time, from my understanding. So there's like he self-made himself to be famous in some form or way, or to reach some type of like royal like status. Whether it is very minor or very large, it does not matter. Also, in the mix we have UB313. So in other words, like this is something new or very creative. He can use his aggressive, if not very competitive, like abilities as a online content creator, and use this ambition and drive for success in the most creative like manners. And this will do very well for him. Also, again, this will also make him very more iconic because he is working creatively to create something new with his ambitions and driving his own creativity. And also, this is including Pluto. So there's his career is in relations to something that's very new, which content creation overall as a quote career or job of sorts, that is a very new thing overall. And also, it is interacting with Nike and Mercury. So in case his career relies or needs help from him being very creative and very quick with his decisions to be competitive and successful in that competitive, or success will come by his competitive like a nature rather quickly, or through online, or through by making videos or playing or using computers, and also success through because his ambitions and his own creativities, and this result him being a person of power or having some sort of control of how things are done. And again, like the creative is only this power or this ability to have success is again due to his own creativity. And now Mars is also into this mix, and also strongly suggests that he as a person is also a very competitive individual. He is also probably very much had tendencies of like being aggressive as well, or like, oh, it's my way or the highway kind of like mentality, especially if the aggressiveness is a little out of hand for some odd reason. But those are just some of the many interpretations that could come from this pattern alone for Wade. I'm going to pull up one more chart, and I think we'll call it an end of the stream after that. So, I mean, if anyone has questions so far or want to know anything else, let me know. Hope you all enjoy the stream so far. Let's see. Let's pull up Ninja. Okay, where is it? Okay, it's in Aquarius. Okay, let's keep on pulling this stuff up. And okay. Let's filter this out. Okay, so Juno Core. Okay, that Takes out a lot of stuff. Juno for Achilles. Nike. Odin. Phoenix. Prometheus. Ulysses. Valhalla. Oh, we have an iron butterfly. Okay. So those of you that do not know sort of the iron butterfly, if we were to like just ignore Nike and Prometheus here, will be the pattern with the red line here and also here in this polygon. Anyways, there's just a little additional note if you are curious. See these green lines here? Those are trines. Red lines over here will be the squares, and these blue lines over here is the quincunxes. So this pattern right here is referred to as the mystical triangle. And if there's any financial planets involved in this, which there is 1, 2, kind of 3, kind of, not really, kind of 4-ish, this would be a very positive financial pattern overall. But since there's like 2 technical, well, 1 minor and 1, well, like I said, kind of makes it very much like a positive financial alignment for him. Anyways, let's get on to the actual analysis in deeper, greater detail. So with Quaoar, again, it is of financial, it is a minor financial celestial body. It is also of memorabilia, iconic. It is of influence overall, influencers, dignitaries, actors, celebrities, individuals who have like some type of like one's abilities of communication or ability, not communication, but charisma, and able to like use that charisma. Oh, another sidetrack right here. If we were to ignore Achilles, that's right here. This pattern is known as the flying eagle pattern, with these green lines focusing here, green lines focusing here. Anyways, so with that immense like charisma, memorabilia, it's in relations to Phoenix. Phoenix, as I mentioned, it is very much the optimistic mindset. It is of success. It is very transformative, rebirth. It is also of sort of like that positive mindset or optimism leading to success. And that success creates more like optimism and so forth. And it just cycles on like that, or starts looping on itself like that. And Odin, it is of status, success, luck, the bringers of blessings in pretty much anything and everything. All that is interacting with Valhalla, so he has immense self-esteem, very much inner courage, valor into these areas, or what it is that makes him happy or jubilant in being like very influential, very iconic, and also this is sort of his status of being very influential, if not iconic, and having some type of optimistic, like upbeat tendencies. Now, these are also interacting with Prometheus and Nike. Nike is of like competitive, like success. It is success in competitive, like nature, success in sports, and just general success, again, in something competitive like natures or tendencies or events. And Prometheus is usually like gathering or obtaining information, enlightenment, inner or outer enlightenment, and so forth. So, like, it can very much be like his personal enlightenment he's very much blessed with in terms of being enlightened or having that sense of enlightenment due to his competitive like nature and positive like mindset and attitude. And this inadvertently would just contribute more to his success in being very influential, very iconic, especially in the competitive gaming like sense. And this is also to do with his inner strength and inner self esteem and so forth, of like working towards that. And with Achilles over here, it just amplifies that persistence and working hard and being competitive, that aggressive like nature needed for competitive gaming. Now with over here with Juno and Ulysses, with Juno it is of dreams, delusions, fantasies, glamour, of magnetisms, and in this case, it's sort of like that competitive nature. It's sort of going back into like very iconic and very successful in anything that he does, as long as it has that competitive like nature and success within competitive nature, he's able to make it rather enticing to the eyes. And with Ulysses here, it is sort of like he is inventing something new, or it seems like he is crafting it in such a way where it is his own thing in terms of making this into like a very entertaining like thing where he sort of have this ability to live in a world where this dream is a bit more of a reality or based in reality, and he can have somewhat of that rock star like style where he has the fame, he has the money, he can party whenever he wants or wherever he wants. But it's all again built upon this like competitive like gamer like attitude and his skills and ability in competitive gaming. Because again, it is that competitive like that very competitive success in competitive like nature or tendencies because of the Nike. In this case, competitive gamer. So those are just some of the many interpretations that could come from Ninja's chart. I hope all of you enjoy this soon. If so, can't wait to see you soon. Bye.